Today we're going to be looking at Gazelle. Number one. So does that mean number one for bicycles? I have no idea. They've got some trust seals at the bottom there, which is useful. The reason trust seals work really well when it comes to conversions is that people trust you. And quite often you find that a lot of conversion rate optimization is about getting the visitor to trust you. Trust that you are not only an authentic business, but also that the product's good. They call this area above the fold. Above the fold is what you see first when you first arrive to a website. Recent studies found that people have the attention span of a goldfish, which means that you have seconds in order to capture someone's interest. You need to tell them what it is, why they need it, and you need to, in the case of e-commerce, quite often show them what it is. This above the fold lacks what's called a call to action. Now, a call to action tends to be an action that somebody can take in order to buy a product or to get in contact with a company. A headline, a subheading, and a button. And a well-designed button would be a button that stands out on the page. This has none of that. I don't know what it is they're selling. I presume it's the bike. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know why I need it. And a good call to action and a good headline tells you very simply what it is, why you need it, and then you have a way for them to act. That's lacking here. So that's a big no-no. But what we'll say is, it's beautifully designed, it looks fantastic, but I don't know what it is. Okay, pronounced design. Now we've got orange bars. Again, I don't know what it is, why I need it. I'm like, okay, very nice, pronounced design, whatever that means. And it really reminds me of Apple's website. The big difference is that Apple isn't afraid to actually tell you what it is and why you need it and who it's for. They have large sections of text, but this has, so far, no text. Okay, it's a nicely designed bike, but I can't really see it. What they have done correctly is that the flow of the bars is heading towards the text. We naturally follow the eye line or the direction of objects or people. And badly designed landing pages or websites tend to have the object or the person facing away from the call to action or from the text itself. Actually, the text is 9 times out of 10 the most important thing on the page, because that's the thing that actually gets the sale. So you should always be trying to direct the person's eye. And actually, good conversion design is all about guiding the visitor's eye towards what it is that you want them to look at. And now we have a nice little man on a bike. Driving experience. I don't know what this pronounced thing is all about. I don't know. Again, okay, so you're telling me it's great to drive? But, come on. Pronounced perfection. So it must come with an app, which oddly is in a different language. I think it's in Dutch. And I'm on an English website. So that's a bit strange. But you'll notice that the direction of the phone, even though the bicycle's facing the right, which isn't ideal, the phone is pointing towards the text. Pronounced Gazelle. So it is Gazelle. Outspoken design. Exciting play of lines. Oh yes, it's so exciting. Streamlined finish. The complete integration of the cables characterises the perfect finish of the number one. We're starting to kind of get into the meat and potatoes here. Carbon fiber. Carbon fork. Carbon fork? I don't know what that means. Carbon fiber offers enormous freedom of shape that makes the unique design of the front fork possible. Dare to stand out? Your number one will be custom made in one of 5 eye-catching colours. But when it actually comes to the colour, you can't actually, hover over the colour and then you can actually see the bike in that colour, which is a bit strange. Okay, we've got the cheeky little man riding his bicycle. Always in the right gear. Stepless and automatic shifting with the heavy-duty automatic IQ Pro Gear Hub. You'll never want to be without it. High speeds, you have your attention on the road. I don't like that copy at all. It's all over the joint. And I think it's something that could be simplified. It's got automatic gear changing so that you can focus on riding your bicycle and having fun, instead of all this faffery and nonsense. The Evaluo Heavy Duty Automatic IQ Pro Gear Hub I mean, that's just a mouthful and a half. You'll never want to be without it. Why do I not ever want to be without it? At high speeds, you have your attention on the road. Okay. What about low speeds? Anyway. Do you know what I mean? It's confusing, and it really could be simplified. Because this company's Dutch, it's entirely possible that the copy hasn't translated quite as well as what it is in Dutch. If should that be the case, then it's a good example of why you should perhaps bring in someone who's a native speaker within that language in order to do your translations, just to make sure that the translations are correct, that grammar's correct as well. They've done the right thing in that the images are really, really close up, so that you can really study the details and the craftsmanship of the bicycle. And there's actually studies that have found that men typically like to look at the finer details before making a purchase. They have a lot of statistics as well. Like, you quite often see this with the iPhone, for example. I know I keep coming back to Apple, but they quite often talk about how many megapixels there are, how fast it is, what the processor is, how much faster it is in comparison to other products, as well as they actually getting really, really close so you can actually see how well made it is. Now, the same principles apply here, and look, I'm not an expert on bicycles, but to me it looks very stylish, it looks a lovely product, it looks very well engineered. So they've done that part correct, but what they're missing is, okay, tell me about the precise steering. How precise is it in comparison to other products? But there's none of that detail here, which is a problem. And also I have to keep scrolling, I'm bored. Look, this is really, really frustrating. So we're going all the way through this, and it's an electric bike that you plug in. Book a test drive now. It's interesting terminology. In our experience centre in Amsterdam, well, I'm not in Amsterdam. You can view an experience number 1. You will have an exclusive 45-minute conversation with one of our number 1 advisors, and you will experience this bike on the road. And then they've got the specifications right at the very end, and to be honest, it's not very exciting looking, and they really could go into it in a lot more interesting detail. Again, I'm making reference to iPhone, but they do an excellent job of making very boring information look exciting. So, very nice looking landing page, very well designed, but the copy is wild. And I think it's a good example of just keep it simple. Just keep it simple. Tell me.